The lead attorney for Kent Cody Barlow has formally requested to withdraw from the case, but is he getting a fair shake from the judge? Thanks for joining us for 2 News at 6. I'm Mark Cabell.
And I'm Heidi Hatch. Glad you're with us tonight. A 2 News investigation looks into the written and oral arguments on the motion and whether the judge has lost his neutrality in this high-profile case involving the deaths of 2 little boys from 2022.
Chief Investigative Reporter Wendy Holleran here with more on the story for us tonight. Wendy?
Well, Mark and Heidi, here you have public defense attorney Ben Aldana, who publicly declared himself mentally ineffective to represent Kent Cody Barlow and has asked to be allowed to withdraw, and a judge who won't let him. Question is, did the judge show bias for the victims, protecting victims' rights over those of the defendant?
My term of service on this court ends in December.
A district court judge about ready to hang up his robe. The lead public defender for Kent Cody Barlow, who has had a death in his family.
So that Mr. Aldana knew the nature of the court's sympathy.
A request to postpone Barlow's double murder trial. One the prosecutor did not oppose due to Ben Aldana's personal circumstances.
The court finds that the motion fails to establish a sufficient basis to establish a continuance, or the defense counsel will be ineffective in its representation of the defendant. Therefore, the motion to continue the trial is denied.
July 18th, Ben Aldana emailed Judge Robert Lund's judicial assistant, telling him his dad was on his deathbed and to let Lund know, I will not be spending the last few days or weeks of his life having my life completely consumed by Mr. Barlow's case. Later, Aldana logged onto Lund's calendar and told him he was taking a leave of absence.
I'm telling you flat out, Your Honor, my dad's kidneys are failing, and I'm not going to spend the next week of my life working on this case.
That's a very, very serious thing that you're saying. You have a professional responsibility here, and you're telling the court you're going to fail to meet a professional responsibility in a case that has been set for trial for almost a year.
Aldana's dad passed away July 23rd. In his motion to withdraw, Aldana referenced a July 30th hearing. The email informing Lund about his dad caused him to lecture me about my professional responsibility and to tell me that if I followed through with what I had said in my email, that I would be failing to meet my professional responsibility. After Lund denied postponing the trial, Aldana did not go on leave due to meetings with his office administration and trying to figure out how to move forward with Barlow's case. Aldana then clearly articulates that his mental capacity is diminished. My current mental condition is preventing me from doing my job properly, and the negative psychological symptoms that I am experiencing have been exacerbated by the fact that I have continued to work due to the court's denial of my motion to continue the trial. A psychologist advised that I take some time away from work because what I am currently being required to do is exacerbating the negative psychological symptoms. The rules of judicial conduct show a judge shall not by words or conduct manifest bias or prejudice or engage in harassment regarding, among other things, disability. Lund mentioned letters he received from the victims' moms urging him not to postpone the trial.
Brooke Jackson Hunter's mother recounted the death of her own mother by cancer just last year. And she said in her victim impact statement, quote, that it's easier to bury your parent than to bury your child. I have a degree in psychology, and in the materials that I read, notable psychologists have determined that the hierarchy of life stressors, a pyramid that has been created. At the top of that pyramid is the death of a child.
Lund compared what I am currently experiencing to the terrible loss that has been experienced by the parents of Hunter Jackson and Odin Ratliff, noting that it's easier to bury your parent than to bury your child. The issue the court was required to address was not who is suffering the most, and then to disregard what I am experiencing. What Lund was required to address and did not was the impact that the experience I am having has on my ability to be an effective advocate for Barlow. A court spokesperson says, quote, we cannot comment publicly on any ongoing cases. Judge Lund denied Mr. Aldana's request to withdraw from the case. Judge Lund did tell Mr. Aldana during a recent hearing how highly he thinks of his legal skills. We will post that 6-minute clip with this story on our website, KUTV.com.